Here's a short tutorial on how to steal from a preacher, followed by what I stole from a preacher, a little video of it. Turns out stealing from a preacher is pretty easy because they're giving it away. All you got to do is show up on a Sunday and listen to what he has to say, or every other Sunday, or one Sunday a month. But if you go to church on a Sunday and you just sit quietly and listen, he will say something that you can apply to life, you can apply to your horsemanship, you can apply to about anything. So they're pretty daggum easy to steal from. You ought to go try it. All right, so I want to talk about experience. And I get from people in person, but also a lot of comments on the YouTube channel and on Facebook and emails and things like that. People say, well, Brett, you have so much experience. I want to draw on your experience. And that's great. That's a good thing. I do have a lot of experience, and that's a good thing to draw on. And I draw on other people's experience too. Whether or not they're more experienced than me, I think you can learn something from everybody, but both my peers and my elders, I draw on their experience. But whether it's my experience, their experience, somebody else's experience that you're asking about and drawing on, you need to always keep in mind that experience is subjective, means that I am the subject of every one of my experiences. And so whatever happened in that experience is subject to me and what has happened to me in my past experiences. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's right. Just because it's my experience doesn't necessarily mean it's right, or anybody else's. And you think about this, what did Dad say to me that time? He says, boy, you got a lot of class, too bad it's all low. And so that's the same with experience. I've got a lot of experience, but a lot of it's bad. I left home pretty young, going to make a living in the saddle, and didn't have even a plan, much less a backup plan. And so consequently, there's going to be some bad experiences there. And then also this is just something that you need to think about when you're talking to somebody. What exactly is the subject matter of the person that I'm talking to? So for instance, when you ask me about horses, I can tell you a lot about horses, and I can tell you a lot about riding, because that's all I've ever done. I wasn't a fireman and decided to be a professional horseman, or a teacher and decided to be a professional horseman, or anything like that. That doesn't make you a bad horseman if you were a teacher and decided to be a bad horseman. In fact, that may give you some advantages. But you have to consider the fact that this person is also drawing off of other experiences. The same if it's somebody that's been doing clinics for amateur riders for 40 years and never really worked on ranches and never really rode a bunch of outside horses for people. And so they may have a lot of experience giving clinics to amateur riders, but don't have a lot of experience in, for lack of a better word, the real world. And so consequently, that's the subjectivity of their experience. And then with me, I've got a lot of experience, and a lot of it's been riding outside horses, riding colts, riding horses that other people couldn't ride or didn't want to ride, and then a lot of experience on the ranch, but then still riding the same kind of horses, young horses or tough horses. So for instance, asking me about flying lead changes, I can give you my experience flying lead changes, which is quite a bit. I know how to get a horse to change leads. But somebody like Clayton Edsel, who's been showing a lot for the last 25 years, he's got a heck of a lot more experience with flying leads. So anyway, that's the subjectivity that you have to consider. And so here's the example I kind of want to give here when you're talking about subjectivity and experience. Would you trade me this for this? Would you trade me $1 for a penny? Well, of course not. Would you trade me $1 for 10 pennies? No. Would you trade me $1 for 99 pennies? No. Chances are you wouldn't even trade me $1 for 100 pennies, because 100 pennies is a pain in the butt, and $1's not near as much of a pain in the butt. but a dollar is worth 100 pennies. Think of this as experience. This is an experience. This is data and reason and facts. Data and reason and facts are worth a lot more than an experience. Now, if you've got 100 experiences, then you've pretty well got this. You've got the data of this is what happens when I do this. The reaction my horse has when I do this action is X. I've got the data. I've done it 100 times. I've got the reason. I figured out why the horse does that. And I've got the facts that 100 times in a row this happened, and so it's a fact when I pull, he's going to go right, you know. So you get 100 experiences, then you've got the data, the reason, and the facts. But if you've just got 10 experiences, that's really not worth all that much compared to data and reason and facts. And so you think about it like this. I've got 1 million of these. I've got 1 million experiences, which brings me up to $10,000. Brings me up to 10,000 facts and reasoned out ideas and piles and piles of data. There's other people, the people that I call when I need help, they've got 2, 3, 4, 5 million of these. But if I'm talking to somebody and they've only got 15 of these, I'm really not all that interested in what they have, unless I only have 2 of these. If I have 2 of these, then I'm going to take their 15 and I'm going to just keep working and keep getting 10 here and 12 there and 4 more for myself until I finally have one of these. So that's what I want you to think about, pennies and dollars, when you're drawing off of somebody else's experience. Does this person have enough pennies, enough experience to make $1, which is the data, the reason, and the facts behind what's going on. So just because somebody's got a handlebar mustache and a flat hat doesn't mean he has any of these. Might have a whole bunch of these, but it doesn't mean he has any of these. So just remember that.